Hi, I'm Frank DiMatteo. Welcome to another episode of Mob Candy Magazine. I got some good guests tonight. I got a fan of Mob Candy, Liza.
Yes.
I have Johnny P, a good friend of mine that's been around the block many times, and another friend of mine, Larry.
What's up, Frankie boy?
How you doing, brother? How are you?
You know me. I was out late last night, and I came here just for you.
I know that. I thank you so much for being
From
here.
Staten Island, on the other side, where the sticks are.
Well, Johnny P has been doing television for in the last 20 years. I know him. He's a friend of Mob Candy. That's how we met. I've been on his show many a times. We've been out personally many, many times.
Yes.
And he has a good story. He's been around. Let him tell you, how you got into doing this and where you're at with it now.
Long story short, started off as a drummer at the age of 12, played in a lot of rock bands, trying to make it as a rock star. And then when that didn't happen, I kind of in the middle of that got into the entertainment business with public access back in 1997. Started off with a show called The Gangsters of Rock. It's like a Wayne's World type of, but street. We showed Mafia clips from your favorite mob movie with rock and roll footage.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
And
cool.
Yeah.
It was a super low budget show. We shot it in the basement, but it aired. And then years later, I started Late Night with Johnny P. And now I'm at the point now where I'm kind of getting burnt out of doing it. And I got the platform, and I'm looking to get to the next level now. So I've been backing up doing that show. Me and a good friend of mine, Lou Martini Jr., are doing a podcast now called Breaking Balls with Johnny P. So it's just New York City guys sitting around, breaking chops. We bring on guests, we'll talk to you, and we interview you for a little while. But it's more like a casual shoot the shit type of thing.
Conversation, yeah.
And
Like we do all the time.
funny stories and breaking balls and
Right.
whatever you have to talk about. And we're going to be launching this soon. And it's a commercial advertising type of thing. So who knows? It's a lot of fun right now. I'm having fun again. So we'll see where God brings me.
Yeah, I was on Johnny P's show a couple of times.
Plenty of times.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
Yes. Yes.
Well, with this kind of characters, it must be a great show.
Well,
Yeah.
I met Frankie in 2000, I think 7 or
Seven.
8. Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
Vinny Pastor was throwing an event at Nino's Pizzeria restaurant on Staten Island, and then me and Frankie, I saw the magazine. I loved it as soon as I seen it, and we just started talking.
Vinny.
And that was it. Yeah, that's
Vinny.
Vinny Pastor.
And that's a shoot from that. That shoot is from that meeting.
Restaurant?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't want to imitate Vinny today because my voice hurts, but
But that's
yeah,
how we met
that's
there.
how we met, and we became really good friends ever since.
Lou Martini Jr. Here
What's
we
up,
go.
everybody?
Yes.
There's the
How
king.
are you, Lou?
The king of swing, Lou Martini. Lou Martini's an actor, he's a writer, he's a producer, best known for his part in The Sopranos. And Louis, tell him your story.
Well, how I met Frank was back in the day. The magazine was relatively new
New,
at that point, right?
yes.
And I was approached by one of your writers to do a story because one of the things that I'm known for, which is kind of a cool thing, my publicist came up with this a couple of years ago. I'm the only actor to have lines, what they call principal work, in The Sopranos. I did 5 episodes last year. I played Anthony Infante, but I was also in Godfather 1 as a little kid in the
that's
wedding
interesting.
scene.
Yes.
So there's a couple actors that were in Godfather 2, like Dominic Chinese, played Johnny Ola and a few other
Right.
people, but I'm the only guy to be in Godfather 1 and Sopranos.
Really?
And how that happened was, and I think Frank is familiar with the story, my dad was supposed to play Luca Brasi in The Godfather.
Wow.
He unfortunately, she shot one day, he got sick, he had a stroke, and he passed away.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And was replaced by Lenny Montana, who did a wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful job
Did.
in the role. So that's my Godfather. So that's how I met Frank. They did a story on me with
Right.
the Mob Candy
Luca
magazine,
Brasi's
and we've
classic.
become
And we
dear
became
friends.
ever since.
Ever since. Like John, I heard Johnny say before, if you're a friend of Frank's, you're a friend of Frank's
Yeah.
always. You know,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't miss the world. Congratulations on your show here
Thank
that
you
you're
so
doing.
much. Yes.
Anytime you need me, I'm here, buddy. You
Thank
got
you.
it.
So what was I saying? Okay, so let Larry explain to you what he does and how he did it or how he got involved.
Well, I like everybody else in Brooklyn, you got your attitude.
Yeah.
And I was playing sports and stuff like that. And my father wanted to get me involved in some sort of judo or jujitsu or something like that because he was in the Air Force. So I started like around 6, 7 years old, started taking some judo classes at a place around the corner from my house. And that lasted for a few years till I was like maybe 12 or so, and what happened then was there was school closed down. I had no place to go. So coming back one time, I happened to see Iron Tiger's dojo. Yeah, so we wound up going in there and stuff, and I met Donnie Caroli, and the other instructor was Tommy, who was Thomas Patera, who was a martial arts expert from Japan. Grew up here and went to Japan, got trained,
I was
and
about to say,
came
Patera
back.
Tommy Karate. Yeah.
And
Okay.
yes, and then we later found out it was Tommy Karate.
Okay.
So I went in there to the school and stuff, and Donnie was American USA Goju-Ryu, which is similar to what you see in the Karate Kid. Is the same type of
So Mr. Miyagi?
Mr. Miyagi type style. Yes.
Okay.
So Peter Urban was the guy who went to Japan, learned Goju-Ryu from the masters Yamaguchi, and came back here to teach it, and they had a big split. So Peter Urban had come back and started USA Goju-Ryu on the East Coast. On the West Coast, Ed Parker started the Shotokan stuff. So I had met, Donnie, and then I met Tommy, who, so I started learning, karate from him. Then Tommy wound up in some trouble.
Right.
No one believed all the stuff that he was accused of and stuff. And, when Donnie, had the school just to himself, we started getting involved in kickboxing. That was becoming popular. And most of the martial arts start off as not you're going to attack somebody. They start off as it's self-protection.
Yeah, that's what I
Get
meant,
somebody
yeah.
away, protect yourself, and run. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to be a sport. It's supposed to be a way of life.
Yeah.
And that was the idea of it. Later on, it became sport. And then obviously, like anything else, there's always been gangs
Yeah.
or tough guys in any country, nationality, anything. They started to take this stuff. It's like, oh, well, let me take this stuff. And
Yeah.
they become tougher and stronger at it, and they utilize it for sometimes the wrong reasons.
How far did you go with it?
I made up to black belt first degree,
Oh, wow.
and then I left there, and I wound up going to the Iron Tigers, and I think I made it to I think it was a green belt or a purple belt. I really forget, because I left. I stopped going to high school, and now I was working in the collision repair field, which is where I've been since I've been 18 years old.
You guys had talked before about making light of, because there was I guess that's another Hollywood thing about boxers registering their hands as lethal weapons, stuff like
Yeah, I
that.
thought that
But
was-
there is a code, because I used to box. I used to hang around a lot of
Right,
boxers.
I thought it was like a code. Like if you could.
Well,
if you
it's
have,
not. It's not a code, but it's kind of an ethical thing.
An ethical,
A professional
that's what I'm
fighter will
confused.
tell you if he's in a bar, somebody's like, "Look, I'm a
This-
professional
yeah.
fighter. You don't want to.
You don't
want to
do this,
It's
right.
one of those things. You're going to say it to the guy or whatever. It's like, listen, you don't want to do this because I'm a
Right.
professional.
Right.
So
if you're coming at me, it's coming
So-
for
Well,
you.
it's a
He's got to worry
confidence
about
that you
losing
have.
his license. He's got the headaches too.
yeah.
Well, you got the confidence in it. You don't have to have the yelling and screaming. You see some of these videos on YouTube and guys screaming and yelling and stuff, and a guy just smiles and walks away.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that ego that I got to fight you.
Right. I wonder how many street guys saw Rocky in one of the box.
Oh,
right?
man.
They must have swarmed to come in.
Forget
You had to
about it. It was a mad rush into the gym.
It's like one of those things with New Year's. Everybody goes to the gym January
Yes.
2nd.
You just have to
You
stay
know, I'm
home
gonna
for
get
the month of
shaves.
January.
When you
Wait
came
for-
out of
yeah.
Rocky, you went to the gym. You wanted to learn how to fight.
Hey,
Right.
Lou, speaking
Like,
of
how to
Rocky, is Sylvester Stallone tough as a boxer? I mean, does he? I mean,
Yeah,
What do
he took it seriously. He trained, and
Yeah.
he was probably at a level where he would have been a really good amateur fighter, probably when he was younger.
yeah.
So, matter of fact, he's coming back to Tulsa King. You guys
Yeah.
watch Tulsa King?
Yeah.
It's good.
So what happened was he was not coming back because the showrunner was leaving. And if you guys are familiar with Terry Winter,
Okay.
Yeah.
great, dear
Terrence Winter,
friend of
yeah.
mine and great and stuff, and he wasn't coming back. And Sly respects him so much. He's like, Terry,
For Walk Empire.
I'm not doing the show with
That's a great
and
show.
Sopranos, of course.
I
He's
met
the one that
him.
hired me for Sopranos.
Yes.
He says, I'm not doing the show without you. So we will have another season of Tulsa. I love Tulsa King.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
it's
too.
good.
It's a great show. And Sly is so funny. People don't give him credit enough for being
Being
funny.
funny.
Sly
Yes,
is
he's good in it.
funny.
If you see his documentary, you'll get a little insight.
Yeah, it's great. It's
right?
very good.
It's great. You kind of see like Sly relax without the interview,
Yeah.
the interaction between his wife, the kids, and what a great
you
family.
see the
he
documentary
raised.
that Frank
Finish the
did?
story.
Oh, well, Tulsa King's coming back
Yeah.
with Sly. Yeah.
Just one
It was
season?
in limbo there for a little
Just
bit.
one season?
Well, it's,
More?
this will be
No, they
season
signed.
4.
They signed for 2 now.
Okay.
Two
Yeah,
Oh,
more.
good.
Yeah.
Could the showrunner left? He didn't want to.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
the
yeah. He's also the showrunner's a busy guy. He's got his hands in everything. He's one of the big showrunners in television now. He's got his own projects and stuff like that.
I met him twice. He called me up a few times. I spoke to him many years ago.
Great guy. He's a neighborhood guy. He's a
I
Brooklyn
think I
guy.
spoke to him after Broadwalk Empire.
Right.
He was Broadwalk Empire, right?
Now, let me ask you, have you ever consulted on certain things? Because you're an expert on this stuff, and You know,
They never
No one
asked
calls
you?
me for nothing.
really, because you should
I'm
you
surprised.
should do some consulting
Listen,
work. Definitely.
I got a 8-book deal with Kennington Books. I write book a year.
yeah, definitely.
You know, they didn't even talk to me. They go through somebody else. They didn't even want to talk to me.
You got to
Swear
find
to
some
God.
new management.
We
Frank.
see him every
Yeah.
night.
He
We
should
don't
be,
want to
he
talk
should
to
be a
him.
consultant.
Yeah.
Michael
understand.
Benson's a co-writer with me, right? Do you know I know nothing until Mike calls me up? He goes, I spoke to the editors and stuff like they want this, and that. I said, how come nobody calls me? Because they don't want to talk to you. They're afraid to talk to me.
Why?
I have no idea. No idea. But we just signed another contract to do another book. And
Oh, congratulations.
thank
Yeah,
you.
congrats.
We're doing a book about Joe Profaci, the olive oil king.
Nice.
And I didn't know. They've been talking about it for 3-4 weeks, and then somebody got, and Mike Benson finally called me and goes, we got a contract coming. I said, for what? He goes, Joe Profaci story. I said, okay.
I got to ask you about the Alto Nights. That's just coming out. Did you see it yet?
No.
You gonna go see it?
I'm going to see it. I want to see how
got
bad
bad
De Niro
reviews.
is.
I gotta hit. I didn't want to say anything. I heard it was like a.
Yeah.
I think it's stupid.
It's
I
a
think,
gimmick. It's a stupid
Yeah.
gimmick.
He's playing Costello and he's playing Vito Genovese. Why do you do that? I mean,
Yeah.
how do you do that?
I give him credit for one thing. My dear friend Joey Pacino, who's a wonderful actor in the business a long time, De Niro selected him to be his scene partner. So in other words, when he was doing Columbo, Joey Pacino would do the Genovese part and so forth. And in every interview right now he's going around, he has been mentioning his name.
Oh, good.
Oh,
I
that's
want to
nice.
thank Joey, which is such a classy thing. I'm surprised
Yeah.
by him because I'm not a fan.
No.
Me
you know?
neither.
But he's been doing that, and I give him kudos to that. And it's so yeah, I'm going to see the movie
And
because
if
I'm
he-
interested in the subject matter. You know,
Sure,
so I'm
yeah,
gonna see
that's
it.
what I
And
want to see.
also, every movie brings Kathy Narducci too,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kathy,
right?
yeah.
So he's like,
I like Kat.
I love Kathy.
We're friends
Kathy's
with
a
her. We
sweetheart.
like her
Yeah,
a lot.
she's from the Bronx.
Great
I don't remember
woman.
if I met her.
But the worst thing that those guys did, this is Scorsese and De Niro, and this is again coming from an acting point of view, and a lot of actors feel the same way. When they did A Bronx Tale, basically they literally did not look at actors' headshots and resumes. They wanted street guys off the street.
I remember
You
that.
know what I'm saying? They literally turned their back on actors and writers, and it was just and that started
Yeah,
the
because
whole
that guy
phase.
Mush
now
was
where-
really Mush from Arthur Avenue.
I mean, I'm going up against
Yeah.
guys that the guy's had his own sanitation company for 30 years. He's got 3 houses, 5 boats.
Right.
I'm working to make my pension here.
Right.
And you're going to give that guy the 3 days on the movie? It's just, he
Was
started that whole trend with
that
the
was,
real guys.
That was Chaz did that?
You know,
Yeah, Chaz, yeah.
The Bronx Tale started.
He
that.
was a
Kathy
producer
Scorsese
on
and
that.
De
Kathy
Niro, yeah.
Narducci was in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She played De Niro's wife, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That
Which is
started the
Chaz's
trend.
mom.
That started the
Yeah.
trend where everybody wants to be an actor now.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be an actor.
Yeah, because they grabbed Phil Garbarino. He was the one at the end. He was from the Bronx who killed Chaz at the end. They were all local
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I mean, when I saw the movie, I'm like, oh, there's what's his face.
Clem,
There's what's his
Clem
face.
Casotti was in it.
Yeah.
I was surprised that I did security in Sheepshead Bay when they did it on East 16th Street because that's where the firebomb of the black neighborhood was.
with the
You were young.
Was
Molotov
Necro,
cocktail.
You
yeah.
were young.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was
25.
25, 26,
Yeah.
27.
Okay.
Something like that, yeah. So my friend Mike, who had the Out of Bounds bar,
Right.
he had a hookup with somebody, so he got a security. I said to Mike, I said, remember when we were working on the film? He says, remember those guys who were just grabbing people all over the place? They had us in a scene on the background. He said, that's okay. I understand they do that sometimes. But like, I found out these guys weren't really actors. They were just
No.
street guys or the guy Mush. You know,
Was
that became
right.
a big
Was
thing.
really Mush
It's
from
like,
Arthur
So
Avenue.
Louis, how they get around that?
Well, you can be a non-union guy and be in a union movie, but once you do the first one, if you have a speaking part, say,
Right.
the second time you get hired to do something with lines, you have to join the
Join the
union.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
You gotta
I
get
think it's
this
called
hard.
Taft Hartley,
Yeah.
if I remember.
Let's
in a theater.
finish up with Larry. Are you good for tonight? You
Am I good?
Anything more to add to this, your little story about karate and Tommy? Or
Well,
He never got to his relationship with Tommy. I don't know what his
yeah,
relationship
what
with
you
Tommy
wound up at the
was.
end with? Just friends?
Go
out drinking with him,
No. We went out a few times. We used to go to Woe Hop a lot with him.
Okay.
There was like
That's great.
eight of us that were. I think there's still figuring around 8 of us still around that know Tommy. I thought he was a great guy.
Yeah, but you're
you
not in
know?
touch with him while he's in canon. Like
I've written him a few
touch.
letters and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and
He's
things
still
of that
around?
matter.
He's still alive?
He's still alive. Yeah,
alive bit,
he's in.
yeah,
still alive.
wow.
I think he's in Kentucky now. I have to look
Wow.
up the address, but I believe he's in Kentucky.
Yeah. How old is he? About
Max
75? He ain't that-
Tommy should be 71 or 72.
That's
I
all he
think.
is. He's a-
I
Once
did
again,
a
I have to- I have
pilot.
to
I
look
did a television pilot with his Laura Mara. I want to say, is it Frank Mara, Albert Mara, his lawyer?
lawyer,
think Albert-
Mirror, yeah.
Mirror. Mirror.
We did a pilot together called Mob Stories.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. Didn't go, but we had a nice time doing
Yeah.
a couple episodes.
I
And the
met
first
him.
episode was on Tommy.
Mr. Martini.
Yes, tell us what you're doing. I know you have to go. I know.
So yeah, what I'm doing right now is, a few years ago, as you get older in this business and stuff. I mean, I'm a working guy, so thank God I make a living at it. I'm doing okay.
Good
But
for
I
you.
said I got to create some work for myself.
Right.
So myself and my business partner Tony D'Antonio, we have a production company now. We're producing a couple of things. I have 3 screenplays that I wrote that people look at that we're really close to doing.
Okay.
If you're Elvis fans out there, I have a film called
Am I?
King Killer, which is about I play an Elvis tribute artist, and I go around the country with my mother and my girlfriend killing other Elvis tribute artists so we can get more work. It's really
that's cool.
a fabulous little thing.
I love
We're
that.
doing
Is great.
So, and then my acting stuff is I get a recurring role on Law & Order SVU. I
Right.
do a couple episodes a year, and I do a lot of episodic television, so I'm trying to stay busy, and it's a rough business, we all know. You just gotta be out there, keep working, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
just keep on meeting
And thank
new
you for
people.
having me on because you're the guy, Frank.
Thank you
You're
so
very
much
good
for
to everybody.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce our Mob Candy promotion girl, the next model for Mob Candy, Yana. She's sitting here next to Johnny P and Mr.
Hello.
Lou.
Wow, she gets
you doing?
clapped.
Yes, yes.
The Anne Margaret looking
Hi.
like
The Anne Margaret,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
yes.
right.
We picked the good ones
Yes,
at
you
Mob
did.
Candy.
Yes,
Oh,
Why
yeah.
don't we talk about some stuff from the magazine?
Yeah.
Let's pick some from the magazine that we can talk about. We did many magazines. We've done many stories, hundreds of stories, 100 models, restaurants.
Do you have a favorite, Frankie? Was it like an article that like really, out of all the articles that you've done,
Yes.
so like there's one that's like really,
Yes, because one that I knew a lot about, and it was written by an ex-friend. We did this article about because I was with Joey Gallo in my young days.
right.
So when they came up with this article, I enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the better ones. I think it could have been more in depth, but then it was like me writing a book, so we had to back off. And I write, but I wouldn't write it because it would have been too in depth, too much.
Right, too much.
And it
Yeah.
would have been, instead of 3 pages, it would have been 3,000 pages.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so we wrote this thing about Joey, and this guy, the writer, picked my brain for a couple of days, and how I know Joey, coming up with Joe, the Gallo brothers, and the Joe Pafacci, and the Colombo, and all the wars, and all of it like that. And I gave him the best for what I could do with him, and tell him who came down the block. We had, we had Don Rickles. Is it Don Rickles
Yeah.
come to the block?
What a
me see.
classic.
Yeah,
What a
yeah,
classic.
Don Rickles come to the block.
Oh, cool.
We had Steinberg. That Joey got friendly with towards the end.
But it must be weird just because, people are just saying Joe Gallo and all these people, but those people meant something to you,
Yeah, well,
right?
I always tell everybody, when you talk, mob enthusiasts or people that tell stories to other people and you become knowledgeable, if you don't ever sat and looked in the devil's eyes and yourself, you don't know what the devil is,
Right.
or fear is. When I tell story to Johnny P about Joey, it's cool,
Yeah.
right? But Johnny can't feel the passion or the fear of it.
Right.
Of it, you know what I mean? You have to be with someone to know them.
Right.
When they do movies about Joey and somebody tries to
Yeah.
implicate,
Right.
it's not even close
A lot
even
of times
close.
it's not portrayed.
at all.
Yeah.
Right,
Not
yeah.
close, because you're not with a guy. He's historical. It's a history story. You know what I mean? I was with Joey a very short time because I was with Joey before he went to jail. But I was a little boy, and I only know him as pinching my cheeks to make me cry. And then when he got out, I was only with him a year, and they killed him.
They killed him, right?
So I had a very short time with Joey himself, but I was with his brother, Larry, his uncle Larry, for the in between.
Mhm.
And I wound up being with the only brother that survived was Albert Gallo, and to him, being with
Right.
him to the end. But you got to know these people. You got to sit with them. You got to eat with them. You got to
Yeah.
know the
Right,
fear.
the
You gotta
innuendo,
know
the little things.
what they think and what they don't think. You know what I mean? I always say, it's good to be a fan, but
You'll never know.
You'll never know.
Right.
Like I had a story, and I told us when we did this that there was a guy when we were with the Colombo family, right? But we were with Joey Gallo. Well, as a kid, they used to tell us, "You're not with Joey Colombo. You're with Joey Gallo." So everybody actually would say, "We're with Joey," right? You couldn't even mention the Colombo because they were always arguing. The Gallo crew and the Colombo, even though they were a crew in that family,
There was
they didn't get along.
they butted heads.
The butted heads. So it was, I'm with Joey. I'm with Joey. Oh, you with the Gallows. never Columbus, and I've been there. I was there many years,
Right.
and then the fear or knowing where you're at or understanding the fear is when there's a guy named Apple McIntosh. He was a big guy, bodyguard with Carmine Persico, and I was had to be about 18 years old. And I go into a bar on Core Street, and my mentor, which is a guy named Roy, is sitting at the bar, and I see this monster. The guy was a monster. He had to be 300 pounds, big head. He was Irishman.
His name is
Killer.
McIntosh?
Hugh McIntosh.
Hugh McIntosh.
Hugh
I thought you said
McIntosh.
Apple McIntosh.
Well,
I
that
said,
was
what
his
kind
name.
of bodyguard
They
is
called him
that?
Apples.
Oh, okay.
Called him
okay.
Apples. So anyway,
Alrighty.
I walk in, I go right, they're on the corner of the bar, I see this guy there, I know we're in trouble. So I don't say nothing, right? So I go to the bar, I order a drink to the barmaid, I go right next to Roy, and I don't say nothing to Roy, I don't say nothing. And McIntosh, after 5 minutes, leans over and says, what are you gonna do when I shoot him in the head? I'm gonna shoot you in the face. And I told him, I said, you better have two bullets in that gun. And the guy took him back. I didn't know what to say. He had to say something.
Right, he
right?
couldn't stand that.
And I was pretty quick, right?
That's a good line, too.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I told him, and he looked at me, he said to Roy, who's that? And Roy said, who's that kid? He goes, that's Ricky's son. They feared my father.
Okay.
So he wound up finishing his drink and MF and Roy, I'll catch you later, and leaves. And Roy turns around and yells at me. And I look at him, I said, I just saved your ass.
Wow.
He goes, you should have walked out because he was afraid I might get hurt,
Right.
right? But instead of saying thank you, he scolded me. I went home that night and says, if you do the right thing in this world, you get scolded. If I would have walked out, I would have been a mutt and I would have been scolded. You cannot be right or wrong with these people. It's
Yeah,
just
maybe
so.
he thought if you start having a big mouth, maybe the next guy wouldn't just walk away,
Yeah.
right? If you kept saying, well, you better have 2 bullets, you better have this, and the guy goes, you know what,
Yeah.
kid?
Well, you think it was good, but I had a gun on me.
Oh, okay.
Roy didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was as fast as you can go.
Right.
But I knew this guy was a killer.
Yeah.
So I would have reacted fast. I wouldn't have to, wait to see if he was going to do it. This guy would have ate us. I mean,
Yeah.
it was fearful.
That's scary.
So thank you.
But that's why we did this article, and I thought it was a great article in the magazine. It sold well. Who was it? It was a Frank Vincent.
Yeah.
It was a Frank Vincent. We're in a Frank Vincent one. It
Yeah.
was a great article about Joey.
And what model was there? Frankie,
what
I
model?
actually wanted to ask you, since we're talking about the magazine,
Yeah.
about the models and the photo shoots.
Yes.
That's what I was going to ask.
Anything, in particular interesting that comes to mind?
Well,
Really?
I mean, I enjoy it in the dressing room when we dress them. Yeah,
to dress up?
Answer carefully.
I'm only kidding.
You would pick up
Yes.
the costumes?
Yes. Like yourself, very pretty. We usually they're very pretty, and and it's usually theme. We're shooting Gangster. We dress them a gangster. We're shooting a pool or a summer thing. We put in bikinis.
Yeah.
Right.
They're all good. I mean, I would never hide them if they weren't good. I loved every one of them.
Like anything particularly crazy?
Sometimes it happens, but
I saw Renee Graziano was one of them.
yeah, Renee was
Was that fun? Or?
no, Renee wasn't, but we did it and
Yeah.
came out okay, and
That's another story.
that's
I know.
another argument story. What I mean? But I was smart on that issue.
Okay.
I printed 4 covers. I
That's
pre-printed
smart.
4 covers. It was Tony Napoli,
Okay.
which is Uncle Tony,
Mm-hmm.
and 3 girls. It was Sammy Bull's daughter.
Oh, what's
And
it?
yeah,
Karen.
didn't you have
Karen?
Love?
Yeah,
Oh, no,
Karen.
And Love Kaminsky.
Love.
Majeski.
Majeski? Yeah, she's
Yeah,
a
Karen.
sweet girl. I love
All
Love.
in
In
that
Mob
show.
Wives, yeah.
Yes. So we had, just before the meeting, they all wanted to be on the cover, and whoever's the producer of that show,
It's actually Renee. Is it Renee?
Sister.
Jennifer.
The sister.
Jen, right?
They
yeah.
posted
Jennifer,
it.
yes.
They said,
Yeah, Jennifer
can you put
Graziano.
Can you put my cover on? Put my
My
sister on the
sister on
cover.
the
I said,
cover,
okay,
yeah.
I'll put her on the cover. We had a meeting about a week before that. I didn't want a girl on the cover. I wanted to put a guy on the cover.
Okay.
So we're at the meeting, and Chris saying, Frankie, she's popular. It's a big show. You put her on the cover. I said, whatever I said. So I said, but I want to shoot Tony Napoli. I said, I'll shoot Tony Nap first. So I shot Tony Nap, and then we made the arrangement, and we shot the 3 girls.
Okay.
So what happened was I had to print 75,000 copies. That's what I had the money for, 75,000 copies. So what I did was I went to the printer, and I said, print 65,000 Tony Naps. And
No way.
And 3,000 each
Oh.
on the 3 girls.
Okay.
Right, same guts, but they changed the covers.
They changed the covers.
Right.
That's smart.
So So no one knew how many I printed. There was
Right.
75,000 printed, but no one knew who was who.
So you just satisfied everybody.
Well, anyway, I sold 64,900 copies of Tony Knapp.
Napoli.
I got about 100 in the house left, and I still got 3,000 each of the girls because
Really?
even their own fans wouldn't buy it.
Why? What do you
I
think?
don't know. Maybe girls don't buy. Maybe girls don't buy shit. The guys don't really care for them. I know no guy was googling, goggling over them. So I don't know.
It was a very
more of a girly show.
It was a very popular show, and I know some of them, but
That one girl was real nice.
But Big Ange was the best.
Right.
Big
And-
Ange's a friend of ours.
Yeah, and Big Ange kind of brought that show to an
That she brought it
more
to life.
watchable
Yes.
level.
Yeah.
Because she was, she had her own personality. She was her own character.
Yeah, but she was a
She's
street
big.
girl. She was a friend of ours.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? It
She
was
was bigger
different.
than life.
And she was
Yeah.
a doll.
She was.
I had her on my show. her
Really?
and
Yes.
Joe Franklin
Yes.
in
Joe
2000.
Franklin.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Two legends. So it was Big
Yeah.
Ange meets Joe Franklin. The studio was packed.
Did she put his head in her boobies like she used to do to us?
Joe used to talk like this. Oh, I'm going to take you home with me tonight. And he goes, I don't know if I can handle you.
Yeah. No, he
She
couldn't.
probably
His
couldn't. He called it.
He was a gem, and she was a doll. She died too young.
She did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And what it is on TV, like you know what I mean? That was kind of sad.
Yeah, that was too bad. Well,
But, the show became a one-trick pony after she.
Yeah.
Everyone just kept
No,
beating each other
No,
up.
it died after that.
And then let me tell you something. We all know that half the shit's staged.
Right.
It's all half the stuff's all bull crap. You know that. I know
Yeah.
that already because I did a show and it had a show on it telling me to do this and I said, but that's what we do. No, but this is what we do. So it's staged
It's
and all
pre-rehearsed.
that.
It did work.
It did work,
and,
man.
and they had their run.
Yeah.
Too bad none of them broke out because some of them have good personalities. Broke out into their own thing.
What are we doing? What are you finishing up? What you're gonna do? Do the show? The
Well,
podcast?
well, in closing, before we go, the podcast is called Breaking Balls with Johnny P.
Okay.
And Lou Martini is my co-host.
Right.
And then we bring in
Guess.
actors and guests, and you come on, we talk to you, and then we have fun.
I was there already.
Yeah, we just bust balls, and we're still we were developing the last 6 months, so now we pretty much got what we want. So we're just moving forward, and then they're going to be airing soon. And we have a girl.
What are you airing it on?
We have a female co-host that's involved with us too.
Oh, okay.
So we have a little posse going on. It's going to be aired on iTunes,
Oh, great.
on the iTunes app, and all the platforms that are out there.
Yeah, that's great.
And we have commercial sponsorship with it, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, I'm just getting used to the whole
Yeah.
thing because I was always my own. I did a TV production. It was
so-
a whole thing.
Right.
I love the audience. I'm not. I'm just getting used to not having an audience.
Yeah.
And I love the live bands
Right.
and the music and the comedians. We don't have that on the podcast.
Right.
And I always get up and play the drums with the band. I miss all of that.
Right.
But I don't miss all the work. See, if we were making money and I was making a lot of money,
Right.
I'll do it every day. But
It
it's
became more of a hassle.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, dealing
And
with all these people.
Aggravation,
Right.
stress. And I got my platform. Now I'm going to use that platform and jump onto another platform.
The problem is you can't feed off anybody.
Now,
Yeah.
Yana's going to be. We're going to shoot in May.
Cool.
For the next issue of magazine, and she's going to be one of the feature
And-
models.
And you bring her on with you when you get the magazine out, for sure.
then we'll come
love
back
to-
on the show.
You come be a guest.
Yeah, you
Of
come on his
course.
show.
Oh, my
Definitely.
pleasure.
Be
Yeah,
my
we'll come
pleasure.
together, and we'll come on your show, and we're going to shoot in May for the magazine.
Cool.
Cover. I don't know what we're
So what
gonna
are you
do, but we're
looking to
definitely
do? How
shoot.
many a year now? One a year?
One a year.
That's it, right? Yeah.
I'm done.
One and
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. Between writing all the books.
And
I'm
yeah, the
I'm
books.
one and
And,
done.
and it's a good hobby,
Yeah.
right?
One of you, people like them. I want to thank everybody for listening to us, and hope to see you again. This is Frank DiMatteo, Mob Candy Mag. Thank you.